Welcome back to Big Mouth and fancy seeing you guys here. And it's great to have you here. I like the YouTuber Council of Geeks. I love that channel. It's a great channel. I want to make that clear. But I've just noticed he's done a video about toxic fandom. And I was going to do another video, by the way, but I put that to the wayside to talk about this. Now, Council of Geeks, he starts his video off trying to be specific about the kind of people he's talking about. Now, the underlining title of this video is When Good Fans Go Bad. Now, I actually quote tweeted when he was sharing his video saying, it depends what you mean by toxic fandom, of course. Toxic fandom is not people who say SJW and woke, because that is a great description of what's going on in the entertainment industry. Because the entertainment industry doesn't care about reflecting about the cultures and genders and the sexualities that are out there. They want to show something because they think that's what the public want to see. But not necessarily that the public want to see. It's political. Because ever since Trump and ever since Brexit, this world has gone absolutely insane. My father is a leftist. He voted Labour in the UK all his life. I kind of sway that way as well. But personally, I think politics is a load of balls and we're just puppets on a string to these people. But let me get back to what I was saying. He didn't like the reception his video about She-Ra got. He clearly doesn't like what a lot of people think of the new Doctor Who and the new Doctor. On his videos, he's very positive about Doctor Who. There's some episodes he didn't like, but he's not calling out the fact that season 11 is boring. Now, let me be clear. If his opinion is that season 11 of Doctor Who is amazing and exciting, that's good for him and I'm happy for him. But I just feel doing a video calling out so-called toxic fandom. The term toxic fandom, why do you think it was created? It's the very reason the term anti-Semitist was created. Now, I'm half Jewish on my mother's side, so I think that gives me authority to talk about this without offending anyone else who is Jewish. The term anti-Semitist was created to scare people out of talking about the Jewish community. Because us Jews, we are a great community. We support each other. The problem is we don't support any other people. So if we're wealthy, I've got quite good money, I'm doing well. So say, for example, I had an entertainment studio. What would happen is I'd employ all my fellow Jewish people, but I wouldn't give anyone else outside of the Jewish community a chance. That's what happens in the entertainment industry. So that's what we do. So what happens is with this toxic fandom, it's supposed to scare us out of telling the truth. The truth is right now that creativity and storytelling has gone down in priority, while the agendas about reflecting different cultures, both the genders and different sexualities, that's what it's about now. It's not about telling a story and, developing characters, fleshing characters out. We've seen that in season 11 of Doctor Who. We have seen that. And anyone who calls it out is called a misogynist, a racist, a sexist. Because this is how these people roll. Now let's go back to Council of Geeks. So he wants to talk about toxic fandom, which is his right, his channel. He can talk about what he wants. But if he's going to talk about these things, then he's got to face the fact that he may lose subscribers. And obviously, if that's what he wants to do, that's up to him. Because I don't personally think there was any need for him to address this. But again, it's about what it's really about. It's not because he's being bullied or anything like that. Because, listen, if you comment on someone's YouTube channel and you're swearing at them and you're calling them names, that's unacceptable. Personally, I ignore that stuff. I'm happy to have a heated debate. I'm happy to talk to people who don't agree with me. I just ignore people who start swearing and calling me names and calling out my appearance. They become invisible to me. I'm not interested. You're literally wasting your time. I'm not going to come on here and say, everybody on YouTube hates me. Boo! Don't give a crap. You can hate me. You can call me names. You're invisible once you do that. But if you don't agree with me, I love a good heated debate. That's what fandoms are all about, whether you're a football fan or a film fan or you're an MCU fan or a DCEU fan. It's great to have heated debate as long as you understand that once you call me names or insult me, you become invisible to me. I'm not going to cry about it. I'm not from this generation of snowflakes. So let's go back to Council of Geeks again. I honestly believe, and a lot of people call out fans for being toxic. We've been accused of being toxic for not liking The Last Jedi. But at the end of the day, most of the issues of Star Wars fans about The Last Jedi are literally right and logical. It makes sense to everyone apart from people who actually believe that storytelling should be the last priority, that character development should be the last priority, and representation should be number one. Now let's talk about She-Ra, because Council of Geeks reviewed it and he spoke really well about it. This is my opinion of She-Ra, right? I actually enjoyed it. What I didn't enjoy was seeing a 3-foot She-Ra who doesn't look like she could fight her way out of a pub brawl. I was expecting at least someone maybe 5-6 foot, something like that, looked like she can handle it. So obviously she gets the sword and she becomes powerful. I get that. But I did enjoy it. But again, we know what they're trying to do. We're not stupid. Now, listen, let me tell you something. Creatives don't care about us. In fact, they hate us. They care about the young generation. The problem is with the young generation, they're very fickle and you can't keep them. So you're trying to make this woke stuff, but they don't care. They literally don't care because they sway from one thing to the other. It's not like us when we were kids and we have 3 channels and we come in for Knight Rider every Thursday night and come in for the A-Team every Friday night at 7:30 or the Incredible Hulk on a Saturday night. We didn't have much choice, but they were good shows and we came back for them. We wasn't fickle, but now they've got so much choice. They stray from one thing to the other. The other night they were all talking about the Richard Attenborough, David Attenborough, whoever, right? He did a documentary. Was it about penguins or something, right? But once that's over, they're not talking about it anymore. They're not re-watching it. Trying to appeal to the younger audience is a necessary but a dangerous game to play. So you start running Doctor Who, you're Chris Chibnall, right? F these people, we don't care about these idiots, we hate them, right? Let's get the younger generation in, let's be cool, let's say fam and stuff like that, let's get them hooked. The reality is, and I mean, there's a big conversation about Doctor Who, and I know I keep on getting away from Council of Geeks, don't worry mate, I'll get back to you. But basically, there's a big conversation about kids and children watching season 11 of Doctor Who. I've done my own research. They're not. Young kids are not watching with their mum and dads. They're not watching Doctor Who like that anymore. That hasn't been the case since Moffat took over. It was the case with the 9th Doctor and the 10th Doctor. Kids, brothers, sisters, mums and dads were sitting together on a Saturday night watching it live. Did you see that? My Batman v Superman thing came off. So I better hold this. I love doing my videos with that as the background. Anyway, getting back. So, look, listen. A major proportion of families are not watching Doctor Who together anymore. They're not. Because kids want to be entertained. And Mr. Chibnall, you're not entertaining them. So let's flip back to Council of Geeks again. Because I do think it's very interesting. Because when you start talking about toxic fandom, or let me give you an example. Scott, what's his name? I forgot his name. He's a critic, right? And he was talking about Ralph Breaks the Internet and it being about toxic masculinity and them talking about people's comments on the internet and things like that. You see, toxic masculinity is another way of trying to scare us not to speak up. And this is why I think when I saw Council of Geeks video, I could see this kind of structure in the video. Don't call out this, don't call out that. He's not directly saying people don't have the right to say things, but he kind of is saying it. And I think this is very interesting now because we are getting in this situation. It's like, the Captain Marvel trailer reveal is a classic example of this. Now, I don't think, I can't even remember if I did any videos, if it was before I started this channel. I only started this channel in June, by the way. So, But the reaction to that was very interesting, where people were saying, now what happened, this was classic, right? But people were saying she was the wrong casting, she doesn't have the personality, she's just there, her face is very bland, very neutral. So the next day, to try and counteract this, the company that is Disney started spreading this publicity that people said that she should be smiling. Now, no one said that. No one ever said she should be smiling. She can't smile on a film, and she's told not to. But of course, that's something else now. You can't be a strong woman, apparently, if you smile. Now, I've never gone up to a woman and said, smile. Never. I don't care if you're smiling. I don't care if you're not smiling. It ain't my bag, it ain't my business. You don't want to smile, you don't have to. But the reality is, they spun that whole situation because people didn't like the trailer, didn't like Brie Larson in the trailer. I always thought she was bad casting. She is a good actor in certain things. I don't think she's right for a superhero film, and you're asking her to lead one. And if she doesn't have the personality of, for example, right, Gal Gadot really owned the role of Wonder Woman, mainly thanks to Patty Jenkins. She really got her in the zone. It really worked, and she's perfect. But what she also wasn't doing, and what I loved about Gal Gadot and Patty Jenkins, they were saying that Wonder Woman is for everyone. That really helps the situation. You don't have to be a man to like Wonder Woman. You don't have to be a girl to like Wonder Woman. You don't have to be. Anyone is welcome to love Wonder Woman. That's what they were saying. They were holding pictures up of young boys dressing up as Wonder Woman. Now, the BBC's marketing tried to do the same thing with Doctor Who. The problem is with that, they were posting these pictures from Wonder Woman after the film. Now, what we were seeing, which I think was very dodgy, we were seeing lots of people in the new Doctor's costume before a ball was kicked and before we actually saw an episode. And we're thinking, how are all these people fans of the new Doctor already? It was weird. It was set up. It was obvious. And we know there's an agenda. Listen, you can deny it as much as you want, but there is a woke agenda. There is something that's going on. And it's the reason this has all gone wrong, really, and why people are taking a stand. And I think it's hilarious because I do think the term toxic masculinity, which actually Council of Geeks, to be fair, wasn't talking about. He was talking about toxic fandom in general. You see, Council of Geeks, you started me on a narrative now. It's good. You did a video and now I'm talking about it. It's cool, right? So what it is with the term toxic masculinity, the idea is that it's all white men in their 40s complaining about certain things, and they're just sexist and racist and homophobics, right? But that's not really true, because I know so many female YouTubers bitching about the same stuff that we are, but they're never called out on it because it doesn't suit these people's agenda. So you know that there's a girl with a channel, and I forgot her name. She spoke really eloquently the other day about Jodie Whittaker and Chris Chibnall. There's that Star Wars game. Let me start again. That Star Wars girl who speaks out about The Last Jedi and what Disney are doing with Star Wars. She's fabulous. Again, she's really elegant with the way she speaks. And there are many females who feel the same way as some of us guys do. But what these people do, let's not call them SJWs unless you want to. But I don't know what else to call them. And I don't like putting tags on people either. But the reality is here, we're being told that it's us guys in our 40s that are the problem, that we hate this and we hate that. I don't hate women, I don't hate men, I don't hate this or hate that. I judge you on your individuality and who you are as an individual, as everybody should be. I don't like tags, I don't like boxes. So at the end of the day, if you're a nice person, right, that's it. I don't care about your sexual orientation, if that's even a word. Your sexuality, I don't care about your sexuality, your gender, your colour, where you're from. That's not important. Where someone's from is irrelevant to me. What someone's religion to me is irrelevant. It's all irrelevant. But if we have a chat and we click, I'll love you forever. And that's all I care about. And if we don't agree on stuff, so what? But this is the thing now. We're getting to the situation when someone like Council of Geeks does a video about toxic fandom, that's very triggering. And I said on Twitter when I quote tweeted him. I wasn't sure if I wanted to even watch the video because I was in a good mood. I've cleaned this whole house on my own. I've explained that I've got 2 disabled parents as well. And I'm developing the first English-speaking dramas on Cypriot TV as well. So doing lots, right? So a lot on my plate. And when I'm in a good mood, I really don't want to get in a bad mood. And that's what social media and YouTube can be like. You can be in a good mood and then you see something and it triggers you. And I will say, his video didn't particularly trigger me. But I think when you start talking within that narrative, it's like, yeah, well, I'm saying Shiraz this, and you're saying Shiraz that, and maybe I'm saying you're toxic, but I'm not. And this was the kind of direction of the video, and I just had to do a video and say that we need to get this straight, that at the end of the day, and he's talking about politics as well, and that politics have been brought into things. Politics have been brought into things. But guess what, Councillor Geeks? We haven't brought politics into it. The entertainment industry have. They stopped talking about creativity and focusing on that, on fleshed out characters, and started getting political as soon as Trump got in. I don't like Trump. I'm not a friend of Trump's. I don't even understand how America voted for him to get in. But what I won't do, if I was a major power player in the entertainment industry, is go insane and stop. Like, let me give you a great example. I watched a Christmas film on Netflix. Really excited about it, The Christmas Chronicles, right? And Santa actually says in this film, fake news. Unfreaking believable. And this is where we are now. We know that Doctor Who's already name dropped Trump this season, but they did it in the Moffat era as well. Ridiculous. Keep it away. Now, I saw a quote from Jodie Whittaker when she opened these lights, and she was defending Chris Chibnall about wanting to reflect today's world. Well, Doctor Who shouldn't really be reflecting today's world, should it? Shouldn't it just be an escape? But escape is not allowed by these people. We must live in the real world. There must be no fantasy, and it must be reality. And a lot of these people, I tell you what, they're fascists. Even though they're supposed to be leftists, they're fascists because they feel you must think this and you must think that. And that's a dangerous game to play. I don't believe there's toxic fandom. I believe that everyone must respect everyone's right to have an opinion. And if I believe that the entertainment industry is virtual signalling and doing things purposely to make a point to Trump, then I will call that out. And I have every right to.